Hi guys, welcome back to the weird side of YouTube. I'm your host, author DC Knife, and this is Manic Mondays, the show where I do channel updates, Q&As, literally vlogs sometimes. Usually they happen at the beginning of the week, every week, but if you've been around for a while, you'll notice that I have taken quite an extended break over the past few months because I was exhausted. Last year I was jobless, and I had a goal to upload a video every day for YouTube, which I did. Not every day. I quit after October because I was tired. A bitch was tired, and I actually finished writing a story in that year. You can download it for free. It's a horror novella. It's about demonic possession and exorcism, but it's got a twist to it, so it might offend you. But if you're religious, it probably will offend you. But that's just how I go. That's what I do, as you can tell. But today we are here with Theodore, of course, to answer some questions that you guys have sent me over the past few weeks. While I have been trying to slowly ease back into the whole YouTube thing, it's been a little difficult. As you can tell, I was supposed to start back in January 1st, and that just didn't happen. It is now February the 3rd as I am filming this, and it's hard, to say the least. I have a full-time job, and I'm tired all the time. All the time, no matter how much I sleep, I'm exhausted. So, you can expect at least an episode of my Let's Play that I'm doing a week, which is Odin Sphere, and maybe a live action film face-to-face video for me every week, hopefully, if I'm not too exhausted. But definitely at least the Let's Play episode. But I love you guys, and I'm really excited to answer your questions. Let's get started. Oh, I don't say that anymore. I think let's get weird now, so let's get weird. Sorry. The first question is from my friend Taylor, and she has had this question burning in her little heart for what seems like ever, and I keep not having an answer for her. Are you going to re-release or rewrite the Demon Cradle series, or talk about it on the YouTube channel? I grew up with Taylor. Taylor was one of my best friends when she still is, really. When I was in high school, we were neighbors, and I was writing a series called Demon Cradle that I ended up self-publishing. She has a character in it named Tana, who's based on her, and a lot of my friends had characters based on it. There was a time where I really hated Demon Cradle, and I just thought it represented, like, everything bad about my writing. I took it down off the internet, actually, and tried to erase it, and erase that it ever existed, but I keep going back to it, like, in my head when I try to write other stories. I keep, like, pulling other elements from that series back into it, and I'm like, I can't use that, I've already done it before. So, I'm not done with it. I don't think I'll ever be done with it. That series and that main character, which is based on me, Zenith, is probably always going to be a part of me. Whether or not I'm going to rewrite it, or re-release it. I can't re-release it as they are because I don't have them anymore. They're gone. I know exactly what happens in every book. There were like 8 of them. Good lord, like 300 pages each. But I know what happens in them, and I can rewrite them if I choose to, and I probably will eventually rewrite them because I don't like how I wrote certain things in high school. I misused words. I had poor grammar. So, yeah, after I've been to college and took some writing classes, I would love to redo Demon Cradle and redo it the way that I want to. It would be a lot of fun. So yeah, there's probably going to be some kind of Demon Cradle content in the future. Taylor, I promise. I'm not done with it. I haven't forgotten about it. The next question is, are you planning on trying to get The Exorcist Acolyte traditionally published? And that is the story that I wrote for Halloween last year. It's for free download on my website. No, I don't think I'm ever going to try to get it traditionally published. I've already tried to get it on a couple podcasts with the help of one of my friends who was friends with horror podcast people. They didn't want it because they said it was too sexual, which is fine. They were also like super religious or whatever, so that probably pissed them off a little bit. But you know, I'm fine with that. I'm never one to downgrade or water down my art for people that aren't going to get it anyway. So, The Exorcist Acolyte has a lot of abhorrent shit in it. It's a horror for a reason, and I don't think I could get it published if I wanted to. I can't even go on podcasts, apparently, because it offends people. I'm not trying to be, like, edgy or whatever, but it's offensive. It's an offensive novella, and it's horror, and the characters go through hell in it, and it's bad. If you have any kind of sensitivities towards abuse or murder or like torture, I wouldn't even read it, to be honest with you. I wrote it to heal from my religious trauma, and I don't know if it actually worked, but it felt good getting it out. The next question is, when will Dream, a surreal and psychedelic gay romance fantasy novel, be available to purchase again? This is my novel that I had traditionally published. It was available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, paperback and ebook. And I wrote this novel to heal from abuse, whether that was from my parents using religion to abuse me, which they didn't really mean to, or my boyfriends at the time abusing me. I had a lot of abusive boyfriends. And Dream was like this place that I could go into during those times where everything was happy and wonderful and pretty, and I had friends, and it was just nice. But it's no longer available to purchase on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It has sold out, and it did not do well enough for the publisher to pick it back up, unfortunately. Which I kind of expected, because it's really fucking weird, and I wasn't trying to get it to sell it. I actually only got it traditionally published because my partner convinced me to do it at the time, who actually got my teddy bear for me on our first date. But he convinced me to do it. He thought it would be good, and I knew the whole time it wasn't going to sell very much, which is fine. It's gay. On top of that, it's weird. It's like Alice in Wonderland-esque, and it's about like overcoming child abuse as an adult. So it's about overcoming childhood trauma. So that's a very niche audience, and I don't think it's met that audience yet. Hopefully it will, and I do plan on having special edition ebooks at least coming to a online shop, whether that will be Etsy store or in the future or something else. I do have plans to get Dream back available for everyone. The next question is, any updates on fairy tales on Mia Arcana? If you've noticed, my theme this year for the YouTube channel and all my creative projects is fairy tales and fantasy. So I have a witcher sword, so I have elf ears and a crown. I like it. I think I look cool. But if you don't, that's fine. I don't care. But I was writing, well, that's a lie. I was making art for and outlining my own versions of fairy tales for 2 years now, and I just can't bring myself to write them for some reason. At this point, I think it's just because I'm tired all the time because of my job. The theme is still going to stay fairy tales this year, but I'm not sure if I will continue to write in fairy tales on Mia Arcana because I haven't even started yet. The poetry that I'm doing this year is all fairy tale themed. I have one called My Fairy Tale, which is just about romantic relationships, and another one called Leaving Oz, which is about heartbreak. I might start writing little short stories about the fairy tales. I was going to have this giant overarching plot that involved all the princesses and like heroes and everything going to war with a main bad guy, but I can't do that. No, not after last year. And I'm still recovering from my mental breakdown, and I have a lot of issues getting my medication. Yeah, it's difficult for me to dive into like a whole new writing project, because for me it's not just writing, it's me delving into the actual world that I'm creating and living in it, eating it, breathing it, sleeping in it, making love to it. It's I have to be immersed in it fully, and I can't really escape right now without wanting to stay there because of my depression and anxiety. So I need to remain grounded for now and focus on my mental health. I may start writing short stories, maybe. I'm not sure, there's no promises there, but I apologize if you guys were looking forward to fairy tales on Mia Arcana. I was too, but it's not happening right now. The next question is current plans for the channel. Like I said earlier, literally just one episode of the Let's Play Odin Sphere per week. Maybe have another poem here and there, and fantasy and fairy tale themed, and here and there some ASMR videos. And I do have a Teddy Bear Talks video planned for this year for the fantasy fairy tale theme we have going on. I do plan on going live on Twitch a lot more. With Disney Dreamlight Valley, or with literally any game that you guys want me to play. I will buy it, I don't care. If I don't already have it, I have a lot of games. But if I don't already have it, I will buy it and I will play it. If you guys want me to watch me play something, I'll play it. The next question is, what is your process when it comes to writing? And that's from my friend Michael. Like I said, I have to be inside of the world. I have to meditate there. I have to just be in that world before I can start writing about it. So if it's like a fantasy world, for Dream, it was very Alice in Wonderland-esque, but also mixed with fantasy elements like mermaids and vampires and stuff like that. So I was very into Alice in Wonderland at the time. I still am. I've always been into Alice in Wonderland, but I took a lot of inspiration from Alice in Wonderland itself, for that one. For fairy tales, I was very inspired by The Witcher and Lord of the Rings. I was trying to make this epic fantasy wrapped around fairy tales in general. I want to do that eventually, but I'm not sure if it'll happen. So I just need to immerse myself in like what I'm doing now, fantasy everything. With my Zelda tapestry in the back. It's a map of Ocarina of Time's Hyrule. But yeah, I have to immerse myself entirely. I have to listen to music that is right now I'm really into bardcore remixes of pop songs. My favorite is Pumped Up Cakes by the cover by Hildegard von Blingen, and it's really good. Medieval songs, remixes of pop songs, which I'm really into these days. And then of course watching Lord of the Rings and The Witcher and blah 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 blah, which makes me think I probably will end up writing at least a little bit of fairy tales, maybe not a lot. The next question is from Michael as well. What inspires you? Like I said, music, movies, love, hate, suffering inspires me a lot, my own and the suffering of others. Not that I get some kind of kick out of it, but seeing injustice in the world makes me want to write a version of events where justice occurs, if that makes sense. Basically everything inspires me. The next question is also from Michael. Have you ever thought about focusing on YouTube, Twitch full-time? Yes, I would love that. And if so, then why not pursue it? The answer to that is it doesn't pay the bills. I need 1,000 or 10,000, I think, subscribers for any YouTube will even let me have commercials on my videos, and I don't even know how much that would make. That's one of the reasons why I was focusing on it full-time last year, was because I was really wanting to make a career out of it because I didn't have a job. But that didn't happen. It gave me 30 to 40 new subscribers, which is great, but it doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't pay anything for me. And I would love to pursue YouTube and Twitch full-time, but it's not viable right now. Favorite game ever and why? From Michael again. Ocarina of Time. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. It's also Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, because I can't, no matter how I try, I can't separate them. They are two halves of the same story to me, because it takes place with the same Link. If you see my fucked up nails, it's because I tried to do nail polish today, and my cheap ass nail polish just refused to work. I was gonna have it black and glitter to match this and this, but oh well. Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and my favorite Kingdom Hearts game is probably Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, because it was the first one I ever played. And I loved it, and it was so cute on the Game Boy Advance. Why is Ocarina of Time my favorite? It wasn't the first Zelda game I played. The first one I played was Oracle of Seasons, and it was just kind of like a preview of all of the amazing shit that I would find in Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time was like living Lord of the Rings for me as a kid. I was journeying across the land, finding and using magic, defeating evil foes, and saving a princess. Which I know that in and of itself sounds, you know, sexist or whatever, but it's always been a classic story trope for me. And the princess doesn't always have to be a damsel in distress, no, of course not, but you should always want to help someone, no matter if they're a woman or royalty or literally anything. You should want to help people, and that's what I think that the damsel in distress, save the princess thing comes from. It's just, if you're a hero, you're gonna be a hero. You're gonna save anyone that needs it. It doesn't have to be a princess. It doesn't even have to be a woman. Okay, what's next? Why do you like Disney so much? From Michael, and that question sounds a little judgy to me, Michael. I'm just kidding. I like Disney because as a kid, it just made me really hopeful for being an adult. At the time, I thought like Ariel was an adult and like Aladdin was an adult, and I was like, wow, they go on so many adventures and they find love and they get married. And I thought I was going to be married by like 23. Obviously that didn't happen because I'm 34, about to be 35 in April. I've had a lot of love and I've had a lot of loss, but just marriage just never seems to be on the cards for me. Even though I've always wanted it. But I like Disney because it's like fantasy, but for kids. Family friendly, it's not for kids. And what I mean by that is like, obviously it's not like Lord of the Rings style fantasy, but like The Little Mermaid and The Black Cauldron and Alice in Wonderland and stuff like that, and Hercules and Mulan and things like that, and Pocahontas. I love Pocahontas, even though like it's obviously not really about Pocahontas. They should have named her something else. But those are my favorite kind of Disney movies, is like the fantasy fairy tale stuff, which is why I like Kingdom Hearts so much. I don't really like modern Disney very much at all. Like things like Brave I love. Frozen is okay. Moana I think is overrated. I think Frozen's overrated as well. I just like fantasy stuff where you can escape into and be inspired by. So that's why I like Disney. What's your favorite food? And I don't know how to pronounce this person's name. I got this question from YouTube. It looks like it's an abbreviation of Smarter Toy 8836 SMTRTOY 8836. What's your favorite food? He also asked what's my favorite game, but I already answered that. What's my favorite food? Probably chicken Alfredo. I love chicken Alfredo. Chicken Alfredo is fucking delicious. I like pizza. You're gonna make me fucking hungry, dude. God, I'm already hungry. Pizza, chicken Alfredo, Japanese. Oof, Japanese would be good. Some hibachi. And some Mexican. Some ACP Mexican would be good. That's all my favorite food, and now I'm hungry. Thank you. This is from Mindy, my best friend. What is going to be your next project, and can you give us any spoilers on what you plan to do next moving forward? My next project, hopefully if I get over this funk and am able to work full-time and still be creative, Fairy Tales on Mia Arcana. Fantasy, horror, dark fantasy. It's going to be dark, and it's going to be fairy tales, but it's also going to be horror. Because I really enjoyed writing The Exorcist Acolyte. It was a lot of fun. And I want to bring some of that horror element back from fairy tales that I think, even though as much as I love Disney, I think we've lost in the modern era. Any spoilers on what you plan to do next moving forward? I really don't fucking know. Just existing and trying to be creative. Like, this is me now at this point, which I think is cool. This is like my highest evolved form, and I'm excited about it. This is your spoiler. It's only going to get more chaotic from here. And these are from a fellow YouTuber of mine that I am mutuals with. His channel is Between the Lines, one word, 1060. So give him a look. He's a booktuber, and I really like him. What drew you into fantasy and to start writing? So, what drew me into fantasy was Zelda. When my dad realized that I was playing a fantasy game, he was like, you know, there are movies like this that you really like if you like this. And I'm like, what movies are those? And he was like, Lord of the Rings. And then everything blew out of the water. And I fell in love with fantasy. And then I got into reading fantasy books. And eventually writing fantasy books, obviously. What forced me to start writing? I was literally just writing like fan fiction of Zelda at the time, around the same time, and then from there on, when I started reading like fantasy novels, I don't remember how old I was young, I started writing my own versions of fantasy novels, which eventually became Demon Cradle, so it's all full circle. And these glasses just don't want to stay up there. Oh well. What is a book you wish you could read for the first time again? I really enjoyed reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I'll have an annotation somewhere up here. I read it for YouTube, and my mom read it to me as a kid, but I did not remember any of it. It's fucking hilarious. It's really funny. Like, especially for a book that came out in the Victorian era that's meant for Victorian era English kids. It's hilarious. I feel like comedy for children back then was a lot smarter than comedy for children is now, if that makes any sense. I am an adult, and I thought it was funny. And it's so much more different than the movies and the cartoons and the shows that try to adapt it. It's nothing like those at all. It's hilarious. So I think if I could read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland for the first time again, it would probably be that. Either that or Return of the King. Obviously. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. If there's something you wish you could do differently as an author. Is there something you wish you could do differently as an author? Yes. What is it? And why? I don't like how I do descriptions of things. I feel like I focus too much on descriptions of the beauty of the world and people's outfits and their hair and the nuances of the colors of their eyes. And I don't give enough description of like battles and stuff. I do describe battles, but I spend like 2 paragraphs on an entire battle and spend like 3 paragraphs on describing the beauty of the princess. It's just how I am. I'm a visual person, and I like to paint pictures with my words, and I prefer pretty things to chaotic and ugly things, which is why I spend less time on battles and violence and torture. It's just how I am. But that's what I do. And I wish it was different. And I try to change that every time I edit my stuff. So hopefully it works. But we're going on 20 minutes. I can't believe I just finished that. Yeah, we finished all the questions. I'm very excited about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments and I will answer them. But for now, I love you guys. I love you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.